Kevin, last point, you're joining us from the set of Shark Tank down in Miami. Has Mark Cuban or Damon or any of your fellow sharks given you a hard time over your change of heart?
You know, half of us are believers in Bitcoin. Mark's come out and said that he will accept it as payment for MAV tickets, for example, and there's all kinds of other, the sharks are looking at it. We're pragmatic investors. Like I'm going to do with Bitcoin, to balance my holding to the 5% weighting quarter to quarter. But now I have that option to do the exact same thing with Bitcoin. And so you're starting to see the stars align on Bitcoin as an institutional asset, but there are other issues to deal with. For example, all of my businesses that I invest in have a sustainability mission. I do not invest in businesses that are polluters or hurt the climate. That is part of my mandate. That's what I do. I don't care, even if I invest in a business that does charcoal, and I have an investment in that, it's one that does it carbon neutrally. For every log they sell, they plant a tree. That makes sense to me. And that's what most investors want these days. I have removed, for example, Chevron out of OUSA. It's not in there anymore. Either is Schlumberger, because the people that buy OUSA as an index, the institutions that buy it, do not want those companies in there anymore. And I listen to that. I have the same issue with Bitcoin. I do not want to own Bitcoins mined in China, because I'm very unhappy with my relationship with the Chinese government regarding my investments there. So I choose not to invest in coin mined there. I do not want to own coin that has a bad provenance. In other words, blood coin, not interested in that. So I have very specific metrics upon which I am going to own coin. The most important to me is to mine it myself. So it's a virgin coin. No one can say to me that you basically mined this and found it from somewhere where they were wasting energy, or they were not carbon neutral, or they came from a country that's under sanction. This is a big deal for me and plenty of other shareholders too. And number one, above all, everybody knows it takes a tremendous amount of electricity to mine coin. I'm not doing it where it's being wasted. I'm going to places, talking to partners that are in places like Iceland and Denmark and Northern Canada, where they don't pay for air conditioning. So there's a lot of this. To get my head around doing this, I've been working for months, but I think my plan is one that anybody would do when they care about the environment.
I just want to dig a little deeper on the ETFs, because we, as you mentioned, we saw Purpose ETF launched by Somseef up in Canada. VanEck set to launch one here in the US. So why the ETF route as opposed to holding, Bitcoin in your wallet, Kevin? Why do you prefer the ETFs?
Well, initially it was an easy way to do it and not have to worry about storage in terms of maintaining a wallet and everything else. But that's not where I'm going to go in terms of building my full and maintaining my full 3% position. I don't know the provenance of the coins held in any ETF. So that's not going to be my preference. My preference is going to be, I'll give you an example, because I'm in the middle of these negotiations now. If you're a miner and you have already established a successful business and you want to optimize it, and you want to put more capital to work, come to me. I will invest in your mining operation and you'll pay me a royalty. You know that word, I like that word a lot. You will pay me a royalty in coin, and I will help you build your business. If it's sustainable, if it's virgin coin, if I'm the only owner, that's a great way for me to invest. And by the way, I think many institutions are going to be interested in doing that exactly the way I'm suggesting, because there are many institutions I've talked to, and I have I'm lucky enough to be in the indexing business through O-Shares, that I can speak to these institutions, both the sovereign funds and the domestic pension plans. Everybody has the same concern. Let me walk you down the list. Is it blood coin? I can't invest in it. Is it not sustainable in terms of how it's mined? I won't invest in it. What is the provenance of these coins? Were they ever held in countries that were in somehow, not on good terms with the United States, whatever that is, like China right now? I don't want to own it. So I find myself with many partners around me thinking about Bitcoin the same way. Yes, we're willing to allocate. I'm choosing 3%. Others are as high as 5%, sort of like gold. And I may change my mind on that too, based on what happens over the next 2 years. But the point is, every coin I own, I want to know where it came from. And it was made sustainably. And guess what? I'm hearing that ringing in my ear from every institution all around the world.
What do you make of Wall Street's slow embracement of Bitcoin? Michael Saylor starting the trend here. Obviously, we saw Elon Musk with Tesla. Who do you think could be next?
We're seeing the banks discuss this. All the money center banks. Why? Because their clients want it. It's not so much at this point a currency. It's not easy to actually do transactions with it. What it looks like to me right now is it's more of property. It's like buying real estate. You either believe in it or you don't. If you think about the decision tree and how I'm a good example of that. Okay, I decide I want to own Bitcoin. That's decision number one. Then decision number two is what percentage of the portfolio should it be? I would suggest 1 to 5. I'm going in sort of right almost in the middle at 3%. And then how do I maintain that 3%? How can I mine coin sustainably? And I know for sure it's not blood coin. That's what I'm working with now. And I need 3% in my portfolio is a material amount of money. And so I have to go find these coins and know with certainty that as I maintain it, as the portfolio grows in value, I have to mine coin sustainably and no blood coin. And so, and by the way, when I talk to the institutions that I work for now, when I'm indexing OGIG or OUSA, they're having the same dialogues at board level, at sustainability committee levels. They're all having the same discussion. More and more and more, as you're obviously reporting, people are starting to say, I'm going to allocate to this as a hedge against inflation, as a store of value, in some cases as a currency. I find it way too volatile to be a currency. However, I am going to go to 3%.
Kevin, last point, you're joining us from the set of Shark Tank down in Miami. Has Mark Cuban or Damon or any of your fellow sharks given you a hard time over your change of heart?
Half of us are believers in Bitcoin. Mark's come out and said that he will accept it as payment for MAV tickets, for example, and there's all kinds of other, the sharks are looking at it. We're pragmatic investors. For me, it's about allocating. I'm an indexer, so I allocate. I say, if I believe in something, I'm going to buy it to a certain percentage and hold my holdings there. My sense is that Bitcoin is either going to perform very, very well over the next 2 years, or it will be tested by regulators. But I really see at this point, as regulators are opening up in countries like Canada and Switzerland, that the trend is for opening up to this asset class. But it's like you said, either you believe in it or you don't. You have to make that decision. It's binary, yes or no. That's the decision you have to make. And I've made the yes decision, and I've taken lots and lots and lots of flack. You are not the only person that's pointed out what I've said in the past. Unfortunately, in a digital world, every comment I've ever made is already out there.
There's a footprint.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're owning it. So I respect that, and I'm sure a lot of people do. So talk of 100,000 Bitcoin to you doesn't sound so crazy anymore.
No. I mean, will it go to 20,000 first? Will it go to 5,000 first? I have no idea. I've done a lot of work sort of looking at the philosophy of why you would do this with a portion of your fiat currency. And you really have to get past the idea that it's just a hype or a promotion. The mathematics involved here, the whole idea of mining the coin, the difference between this and proof of stake, all of these things that are Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which I also own some of. The other area of interest to me is I formed a team in my organization to look at this. I'm interested in actually interest yield using DAI, using USA, against a Bitcoin loan. There's all kinds of different strategies